Hey, my name is Chris M. Walker, and over the last 10 years, I have built multiple seven-figure businesses, including Superstar SEO, which is my SEO search engine optimization training software services and consulting company. And it has one of the largest SEO groups on Facebook, and Legiit.com, an 8-figure B2B growth engine and freelance marketplace doing millions in monthly revenue. I've also launched 6 successful software products, including Audit.io, Legiit Leads, and Snapped.io. Today, I'm going to show you how to start actually making money, but not the BS that most people on the internet and on YouTube tell you. I'm going to show you why building communities is the fastest path and most important path to growth, how to spot and seize real opportunities that others are going to miss, and the truth about building multiple revenue streams. We're going to talk about how to turn a personal brand into your own empire. And most importantly, we're going to talk about how to keep growing when others plateau. So let's start at the beginning, or the real starting point, and why most people fail. And that's because they get caught up in chasing these shiny objects and these get-rich-quick schemes and all that crap that you see every day in your inbox and on YouTube and on Instagram and everywhere else. Firstly, it's building the foundations of an actual business, picking something, sticking to it, and growing it. This is where people fail, and this is what I want to make sure that you avoid, and it's what we're going to talk about first. So let's start at the beginning and how I started my first real successful business, Superstar SEO. Now, the background on me is that prior to getting into business for myself, I'd had several careers. I worked as a professional political operative, and I worked in IT as a tech support person, among other things. And that's what I was doing in around 2013. I was working level 1 tech support for a real estate development company, just doing the basic password resets and all that crap that you basically, when you call in and say this doesn't work, I was the guy that picked up the phone and told you to turn it on and off again. I was absolutely miserable doing that, despite having gone to college for it and worked at it for on and off for 10 years. And on top of that, I had managed to pile up a big pile of credit card debt for myself, and I wasn't making enough money to get out of it. So I started looking into ways to make additional money so I could get myself out of debt. That was my only goal at that point. And one day when I was at work and not doing my job and screwing around on the internet, I found a blog post that used to be on a professional wrestling blog that I used to read. And the guy that used to run it no longer did. And he just had a 1-page, this is what I'm doing now kind of thing there. And it said that he was busy making his living doing something called affiliate marketing. And I'd never heard of that before, but after reading his article about how he was making money making websites that promoted other people's product and getting a commission for it, I started looking into that and figuring out how to do it. I had a little bit of success with that. I would sit, and there was a website back in the day called the Warrior Forum. I would read different posts on that and buy a bunch of different shiny objects, trying different methods of making money. I did a bunch of different things. I did surveys where you would just spend all day answering surveys and literally get a few pennies or maybe even a quarter if you were lucky for answering a survey or doing a small task. I did this is something I made up, at least I think I made it up, but I did Amazon Prime to eBay arbitrage, which is where I would go on Amazon or on eBay and find products that people were selling, find that same product on Amazon and use my Amazon Prime free shipping to just upsell it on eBay. Turns out that was against Amazon Prime's terms of service, and my Amazon Prime account got terminated. I tried all sorts of other little gimmicks and stuff that I would find, but I did stick with affiliate marketing, and I started doing pretty well. I launched my first site, getridofcable.net, which still exists today, although it doesn't make any money anymore. And I started making some good money doing what I thought was affiliate marketing. And what was happening was I was getting all of my traffic from Google search because I had bought a course on the Warrior Forum that taught me how to build that site and then to use a software called Magic Submitter to get it to rank in Google. And I ranked for a bunch of terms and started making some money through Amazon affiliate and through AdSense, which is where you display Google ads on your website and you get paid when people click on it. So I started making some money that way. But then in late 2013, there was a Google algorithm update, and that made that site stop getting traffic from SEO. I didn't even realize what I'd been doing at that point was called SEO or search engine optimization. I just thought I was doing affiliate marketing, but I had to figure out what worked because I had to figure out how to fix this because I'd gotten hooked and gotten used to that extra money. I started doing some more research, went back to the Warrior Forum, went to another site called Black Hat World, and I really didn't get anywhere. I made a little bit of progress, but it wasn't what I needed. And then I stumbled on that course I bought. The first course I had bought that got me to that point was called Bring the Fresh. Well, the guy that owned that course promoted somebody else's course from a guy called Alex Becker that was called Source Phoenix. Now, that course was really what set me on the path to where I am today. That was the first time I learned about doing client SEO, which is where you do search engine optimization for clients and then charge them money to get their business to show up higher in Google. And then that also helped me get back into affiliate SEO as well. So that got me on the path to where I started making some money from client SEO. And I still had a day job at this point. So to sign those clients, I would just sit there all day and send emails to businesses I would find on like yellowpages.com. And it worked. I got a few clients. I literally, since I still had my job, I would go into like the bathroom at work to take phone calls and sign my clients that way. That's how I got started with that. And between that and affiliate marketing, I was making a little bit of extra money or side hustle money or whatever you want to call it, but it still wasn't enough. I'd gotten myself out of credit card debt, but it still wasn't enough to get me out of that job. So what I did then was I just kept treading water for a few months. And then the guy, Alex Becker, that had taught that course, launched a marketplace that no longer exists, but it was called Source Market. And it was just a freelance SEO marketplace. So I decided on a whim to list an SEO service. I didn't really know how to do SEO at that point, but I listed a service and I just resold it from somewhere else and didn't ever expect anything to come of it. Well, one day I'm at the gym and I get a PayPal notification on my phone and it was for $10. And I was like, what the fuck is this? So I look into it and I had made a sale on Source Market. I was like, well, I'm onto something here. So I listed a couple more services and then I listed a service based on a piece of software, one of those shiny objects I bought and sold use of that on the site. Well, what happened then was an influencer endorsed me for that service. And I started getting dozens and then hundreds and hundreds of sales. And that is where things really started to take off for me. I started making a lot of money doing freelance SEO. Between that and my client SEO and my affiliate SEO and a few little other odds and ends, I was finally in the position to quit my job and start doing SEO full time. And one key thing I did that we're going to talk about a little bit later is I started funneling the clients from that site into a Facebook group and creating a community. So remember that. We're going to talk about it here in a little bit. Now, one of the reasons I was able to quit my job at that point was I still wasn't making quite as much money from my SEO business as I was at my job, but I was able to quit and go full time on it partly because not being able to focus full time on the business was restricting it. But also what I had done and what I had smartly done was keep my personal expenses low. I didn't have a car payment. I had very cheap rent. It was like $600 a month, which even at that time was absurdly cheap. Now that wouldn't even exist. But at that point, it was incredibly cheap. I didn't really party or go out or waste any money on anything. It cost me a minimal amount to live so I could afford to take that gamble. And if things didn't go well, I could have a few lean months. I could even go do Uber on the side if I needed to. Thank God I never ended up having to do that. But things like that. So what that also allowed me to do was when things were still going well, was to reinvest that money into my business, into more marketing, and to take more chances, which allowed the business to grow faster and faster and faster. So before long, I was doing very, very well, making $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month between my freelance SEO, my client SEO, and my affiliate SEO businesses. And that's kind of the quote unquote origin story of Superstar SEO, my first business. It's grown tremendously since then. We've added training. We've added some software that we're going to talk about in a little bit and a few other ways to monetize that. But if I hadn't focused on that one thing after buying that really expensive course from Alex Becker, at least really expensive to me at the time, and focused on growing SEO and getting rid of all the shiny objects, it never would have happened. And I also wouldn't have been able to do it if I hadn't kept my personal expenses low. I wouldn't have been able to take the risk of quitting my job, and I wouldn't have had the money to dump into the marketing and to the growth that I did. So I got into that not knowing all the answers. I didn't necessarily know from month to month how much I was going to be making or how I was going to monetize everything. But I knew the goal. I had one goal, which my first goal was to pay off my credit card debt. I hit that goal. My next goal was to make enough money to be able to quit my job. And I knew that part of having that goal was to not have much risk from having too many expenses. So I hit that goal. Having a goal and knowing what you're working towards is much more important than overthinking and overplanning and having all the answers ahead of time. If you know where you're going, you can make sure that every step you take is in the direction of that goal, and you'll eventually get there as long as you keep taking more steps, even if you don't know what the next step is going to be from day to day. Now, the next thing in running a successful business or starting a successful business that's worked for me, and it's absolutely critical to everything I've done in all of my careers, is community and trust building. I mentioned earlier that I started funneling my customers from the freelance marketplace I was working on into a Facebook group, the Superstar SEO Facebook group, which you can see on the screen here is still going strong today. It has over 77,000 members. But what I started doing was I would deliver an order. I would say, here's your delivery. Here's the links or the social signals or whatever it was that on that order. If you want to get some discounts and some great content and be able to talk to me directly, just join my Facebook group. And I would link them over to the Facebook group, and people would start joining. They would just start signing up, and not signing up, but like just joining the group. And I would just start giving them free value and just talking to them, answering questions when they had them, start giving them free stuff that I would do. I would go and figure out different ways to build different links and stuff like that, and just share it in the group. And what that did was that built trust. Trust is absolutely key to being successful in business, because people aren't going to buy from you if they don't trust you. It doesn't matter how good your product, your service, your whatever is. If they don't trust you, they're not going to buy from you. If you build a community and you just be yourself, as long as you don't suck, you can start building that trust with people. And one of the ways that worked really, really well for me was building Facebook groups. And that's how at one time, Superstar SEO was the biggest SEO group on Facebook. And it's still one of the most active and one of the longest existing ones. And without that, I never would have been in a position to quit my job in the first place. And I wouldn't have been able to build the next businesses and things like that. Now, I know a lot of people that have tried to monetize Facebook groups and use them to grow their businesses and things like that. And they don't really do a very good job with it. And part of it is because they are very transactional with it. So to them, it's just a glorified email list or a free ad or something like that. They're not really being a community. They're not really being a normal everyday person. Now, you'll read marketing books and marketing training and things like that. They'll tell you to create a persona for yourself. I think that's bullshit. I think what works is being yourself, being a good person, and just genuinely being down to earth and being helpful when people need help, and being open to talk to people and not thinking of yourself as above anyone. That has worked really, really well for me. And it also has the advantage of just being the right way to treat people. So being normal, being down to earth, being a person in your community, being just another person in the community rather than Buddha on the hill or whatever you want to call it, will really, really help your community grow. It'll help them trust you. And then when you do offer them something for sale, then they're actually going to buy from you because now they trust you. So continually building that trust and being transparent is really, really key to growing a community and getting people to do what you need them to do. I mentioned earlier in the video that I worked as a professional political operative. And that's where I really learned the value of creating communities, because my goal, I worked in what's called field, which is those people you see in offices in your neighborhood that are there to interact with people and to like grow in the community. And what I got really good at was finding different people in the community and getting them motivated around a particular topic. And I took that skill and I applied it to this business as well. And that's what I did with the Superstar SEO community. I was consistent. I would put out whatever I was doing. When something didn't work, I would say that. When something did work, I would show them that, and just try to be as transparent and consistent with people as you possibly can. For whatever reason, when people start building a business or an online business, they start acting like a robot rather than like a human being or a person. And if you start doing that, it's not going to work. So be genuine, be consistent, and be transparent. This community continued to grow and to grow and to grow. And it's one of the reasons that I have my most successful business and the biggest business, and the one that, if you know me already, is probably what you know me from. And that's Legiit. Now, the origin story for Legiit is tied to that Facebook group and that community that I built. So I told you I was doing freelancing on a freelance marketplace that no longer exists. Well, the reason that freelance marketplace no longer exists is, for one, it wasn't a priority for the owner of that site at the time. And then what started happening was it would start going down. It would start getting buggy. It would get hacked. It would crash for days at a time, had all sorts of problems. So at that time, I had made a good relationship with my customers, but I'd also made a good relationship with the freelancers on that site. But also, I had to replace the income that I was losing whenever that site was down. So what I did was I set up a store on my own website, superstarseo.com, which you can see the site here. I no longer have a store on it, but I set up a place to sell my services directly through my site rather than having to rely on that other site, that marketplace. And the only reason that worked was because I built that community in Superstar SEO, as well as collected some email addresses and things like that. Now, what ended up happening was I built relationships with the freelancers on the other site that I was working on, and they saw me selling stuff through my own site and were like, hey, can I sell through your site too? And I was like, sure. I tried that. And then a few more people asked me, and I was like, I think I'm onto something here. So fortunately, I told you I built relationships with the customers that I met through that freelance marketplace. Well, one of them turned out to be a developer, and I told him what I was doing with my site there and how people were asking to be on it. And I was like, and then somebody else had also given me some insight on maybe I should grow my own marketplace. I hadn't considered it, but I went between myself and that web developer I met as a customer who I sold a $17 service to on that other marketplace. We decided to launch a marketplace of our own. And there was instantly a lot of demand for it. But when I did that, I thought it was just going to be another product for Superstar SEO, like just an add-on product that would, be just one more thing I could offer and one more way to provide services. But within a month, it was by far my biggest revenue stream. I had all the customers from Superstar SEO. It took a few months to develop Legiit, so I built a lot of hype in the meantime while it was being developed, like the actual coding of it. And then within the first month, it was my biggest revenue stream. So because I had spent that time building that community and building that asset of people that knew, liked, and trusted me, and people that I had helped, I had, without even intending to, identified the real ROI of helping people, which is that they trust you, they know you, they like you. And then when you offer them something that they need, and there was a big need for this because that other marketplace had really ruined its reputation, I stepped in and offered them this. And because they knew, like, and trusted me, because I had that community, because I had that trust, because I built that relationship with them by being myself, by being transparent, I was able to, in my very first month, have my most profitable business ever. And it's only grown since then. So that Superstar SEO community led to a Legiit, which is now a multi-million-dollar business that's growing and innovating every single year. Now, I mentioned innovation because that brings us to the next thing that you need that has really allowed me to grow my multiple businesses and continue to grow, scale, and provide different opportunities for people and for myself. By innovating, one of the things I mean is doing what other people won't do. So, for example, SEOs are absolutely allergic to ever paying for traffic or running ads or doing even like the organic Facebook stuff that I talked about. They just want to sit behind their computer and push buttons and hope that their computer is going to shit money because they rank the website. I want to get as many people to know about me as I ever possibly can. So I learned how to run advertising too. So what I would do is run Facebook ads. In fact, I still have one that I'm going to show you. This is an ad that you can see that I started running in 2017, where I wrote a blog post on how to rank in Google Maps formatted it into an ebook, and just ran ads to people that I thought would be interested in it. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I learned. Constant learning is one of the things that we're going to talk about in a second. But you can see this fueled my business for years. I would run this daily and sometimes get 50 new email addresses every day. They would click the link. They would get sent the ebook. I send them some emails, and then on the thank you page, the page after they get the book, I'd direct them to my Facebook group. So the group grew, my email list grew, and the people that knew and liked me grew because I was giving them something really, really valuable. And this is something that a lot of SEOs aren't willing to do. And it's one of the reasons I won and they didn't, is I was willing to do this. If you look, there's hundreds and hundreds of comments, and some of these people I still have working relationships to this day. What's that? 8 years. It's 2004. It's 2024. So that's 7 years later. This one ad fueled my business for years, and I ran other ads as well. Being willing to do things that other people weren't willing to do, like start a marketplace when the other one went away, or running ads, is one of the reasons that I've succeeded and they didn't. And if you want to be successful in business, you also are going to have to do things that other people aren't willing to do. People are willing to pay you to do the thing that you're doing already, but if you want to get paid more, you're going to have to do things that other people don't do. And that's going to mean learning new skills and creating opportunities. I didn't know how to run ads, but I figured it out. I didn't know how to start a marketplace, but I figured it out. I took courses. I watched YouTube videos. I'm constantly listening to podcasts and audiobooks. An Audible subscription is, I think, $15 a month. And you have an infinite amount of wisdom that you can listen to in your car, or while you walk, or while you work out, or whatever it is you do. But constant learning is the only way to get better, to learn new skills so you can do those things that other people don't do, so you can get those opportunities that other people don't get. You see how everything kind of stacks together? You learn something, you implement it, something that other people aren't doing, and then you get opportunities that other people don't get, and then you repeat that cycle, and you continue to grow and grow and grow. And what's going to happen when you do that is you're going to find gaps in markets that other people tell you are saturated. So for example, in SEO, there's a lot of software out there that does a lot of different things. And people will tell you that it's saturated and it's not worth getting into. Well, the fact that I had learned all these things and created all these opportunities for myself meant I could find pockets of opportunity in these saturated markets. For example, at this point, Superstar SEO was a massive business. And I started offering training in a course called Superstar SEO Academy, which is no longer available for sale, but it had hundreds and thousands of members that went through it and have gone on to have successful SEO careers. And one of the things I would do is I would take their websites and just audit them. And what I was doing was I was comparing their website to the ones that were ranking on page 1 for the terms that they were trying to rank for. And I would do that. And I realized this is a big pain in the ass to do manually. So I realized there was an opportunity there to create a software that did it for you. That's when I created audit.io, which you can see on your screen right now. And what this does is an SEO software where you can just put in a keyword, put in the URL of your website, and it'll tell you how you're doing compared to your competitors in the on-page categories that really matter. And then you can make those changes and you'll end up being able to outrank them. That's what I was doing manually. And by showing that to my students, I identified an opportunity because I was learning and getting better, and found that opportunity and turned that into a business. And then I launched this on both to my existing customers, but also on AppSumo. And on AppSumo, I think it made $40,000, and then continues to make several $1,000s a month, even though I haven't advertised it or pushed it in a long time. And later on, it became a big part of Legiit as well. Another opportunity I had was I had stumbled on a free tool that was a link shortening tool called snapped.io. Now, Snapped is a link shortener that had a lot of really cool features, and I really liked it. And then one day I logged into it and I saw that they were going to shut it down. And that would have been a huge pain in the ass for me because I had a lot of links that are getting shortened through it. Well, what I did was I reached out to the owner and said, man, I love this tool. I hate that you're shutting it down. Can I buy it from you? And it turned out it was somebody I knew. And he didn't even really care. He just didn't want to have the headache of it. So for $500, I bought this entire software and this entire business from him. And I just wanted it at first to keep my links so I didn't lose all the links I'd been like redirecting to different places on the internet. But it already had a few hundred users as well already. But what I did was I started running paid advertisements to it, gave it away for free to give people that value and build that trust. And then I would get them on my email list and start indoctrinating them into my other businesses, into Superstar SEO, into Legiit, into everything else that I do. So had I not been in that looking for opportunities in saturated markets, I wouldn't have bought this tool for $500 and turned it into a huge lead gen and customer acquisition channel for my core business, Legiit. So as you can see, I have continued to grow and expand and create new opportunities for my core business, Legiit, which you can see on the screen here. So as you can see, I have continued to grow and scale and create new opportunities for myself. And one thing a lot of people do wrong is they stop growing too soon. They get too comfortable. They get too soft, and they don't look for more opportunities and don't continue to add that security that continuing to expand and grow brings them. And then when something goes wrong, like the world gets shut down for a pandemic or something like that, they're screwed. So never stop growing. And that's a mistake a lot of people make, is you can never really stop growing, but you should really not. If you're going to stop at some point, you're going to stop way too soon. You're not nearly as secure as you think you are. And you need to have as many assets as possible and as many ways to bring people into your business as possible. And another one of those is the next major thing that I've learned in 10 years of doing business. And that is what we're going to call the brand reality, or building a personal brand. So I feel, as the kids say, super cringe when I say this, but the most valuable asset I have is the Chris M. Walker brand. And just a little word on that. Chris M. Walker is me. That's my name. That's who I am. But it's also me churned up to 11. Chris and Chris M. Walker are two different people. I consider the brand to be Chris M. Walker, and I'm just Chris. So you're always just getting me, but that's the name of the brand. So just to clarify what I mean between the difference between a person and a personal brand. Anyhow, I began to realize around 2020, during the pandemic, that the most valuable asset that I had was that I had built this trust with people. And I just did that because it felt like the right thing to do and that I knew it was good for business. But what I realized was that people liked Superstar SEO, they liked Legiit, but what they really trusted was the Chris M. Walker brand. And that's because it was my personality. It was me. It was me, my face there, being the one, giving them value, offering them things, selling them things they needed, helping them with their business, helping them with their problems, just being a friend to some people when it wasn't just some corporate logo, some content that a social media manager turned out or whatever like that. And this has become the trend in business. And it's why having a personal brand is probably the biggest asset that you can have if you're growing a business, and something that's almost vital at this point. And it goes up no matter how far you go. Elon Musk is the most successful man, or at least the richest man in the world. And a lot of that comes from the Elon Musk brand. Sure, he has Tesla and Starlink and Twitter and the Boring Company and the one that I'm forgetting right now. He has all these things, but most of those are associated with his name, and his name alone moves the needle in those businesses. So it's the same thing at any level. You can be a personal brand and build that trust with people, and it's going to work so much better than a corporate brand. There's a few exceptions, like Wendy's is very good at being the corporate brand, but for the most part, the successful brands in 2025, 2024, 2025 and beyond are personal brands. And it's something that I kind of stumbled upon, and you notice that's a recurring trend, is I stumbled upon different things, but it's the most valuable resource that you can have is your name and your brand and your ability to take that trust that you build with your personal brand and just drop it into whatever business. Right now, Legiit is my core business, and it's what I'm focused on growing and turning into something that the world has never seen before. But someday I may move on to something else, and I can take that personal brand with me and just plop it into another business. You see what I mean? The fact that I've built that trust with people is how I'm able to leverage that personal brand. And that's a value that I can never, as long as I treat people well and continue to put myself out there, I can never lose that. Some people that are really good at this are Mr. Beast and Logan and Jake Paul. They have taken their personal brand that they built mostly through YouTube and applied it to different businesses and just put their name on it. They've got Prime, they've got Feastables, Jake Paul's a boxer, Logan Paul's a wrestler. They take that name and they just put it on any business and people go where they are. They've mastered attention and they use that their name to bring that attention in. So that's the value of a personal brand. Is your personality is going to get you so much further than any corporate brand ever will. And you'll be able to leverage that trust across multiple businesses. And what you're going to be able to do then is turn those followers into customers, just like Mr. Beast and the Paul brothers and so on have done. They built up a huge following, a huge distribution channel before they ever had a product. For a long time, their only product was their content. So they built their content and built their name and built their name. And then finally, when people were like, oh my God, I want to buy something, they released a product and Prime caught up to Gatorade. It was a, I don't know, 50, 60, whatever year old brand in a couple of years. And all because they had the power of that personal brand that they then took and turned into customers. So when I say building a personal brand is the most valuable asset that you have and that you can turn those followers into customers, that's what I mean. I'm not talking about making money through your AdSense and through whatever monetization the platforms have. That's just a little bit of that's a little sprinkle on the sundae. The real value is taking those followers, building the trust that you've taken with them, and they'll be just dying to buy something from you because they like you so much. So then you just find the right opportunity and deploy that among any brand that you start. And you can also apply it to other people's brands, by the way, a little tip, if you want to promote somebody else's product and get back into affiliate marketing. So another little thing you can do there. But having that personal brand allows you to just take it and apply it to any business that you get involved with. As long as you offer a good product and people still trust you, they're going to buy from you. And it's going to give you so many more opportunities, which is our next topic, seizing opportunities. I've talked about this periodically throughout this video because this is probably the biggest thing that you can do to find success in business is to find an opportunity and capitalize on it and seize it when the opportunity is there. A lot of people will get an opportunity and they will use it and let it go by, or they'll see it and just not capitalize on it. I've done that before too. I had the idea for MySpace in for you kids out there, MySpace was one of the first popular social media networks. I had the idea for that in 1995. I just didn't know how to do it. And it didn't happen. I didn't make that mistake again because I saw the opportunity, for example, for Legiit when that other marketplace went away, and I went all in on that. Now, there's a difference between good opportunity. Not all opportunities are good opportunities. Alex Hormozi likes to talk about the woman in the red dress. And that means, and what that basically is a distraction. There are opportunities that will take your focus away from your main goal and just make it to where you have a bunch of mediocre things rather than one good thing. So I talked in the beginning about avoiding shiny objects. That never goes away. They just get to be better shiny objects and they make it harder to escape them. So learning how to spot real opportunities versus distractions is key. And what I like to do is remember that I have that core mission or that core goal that I'm working towards. And when I evaluate whether an opportunity is an opportunity or a distraction, I say to myself, does this move me closer to or further from that goal that I'm looking to achieve? If it moves me closer to it than doing the other things that I would do with that time, then I do it. If it doesn't, then I don't. It sounds simple, and it's simple to say, it's harder to resist, if that makes sense. So spotting opportunities and knowing when to take them and knowing when they are just distractions is a skill you're going to have to develop. And the best advice I can give you on how to develop that is to decide if it helps you get closer to your goal or if it doesn't. That's a lot of work. And a lot of this stuff that we've talked about is a lot of work, and you're not going to be able to do it all by yourself. So that brings us to the next thing I want you to focus on doing is finding the right business partner. Now, some businesses you're not going to need a partner in, but most of the time you are. You can't, I'm not good with analogies, but I think the analogy is if you get somebody to help you row your boat, you'll get there twice as fast. If I got that wrong, hopefully you get the idea. But basically, finding the right partner is key. And one of the key to finding a right partner isn't somebody who is good at the same things you're good at. That's probably not going to be helpful. But it's somebody that is strong where you're weak and weak where you're strong. So you complement one another. But the other thing that you have to have in common is the same core principles. So, for example, if you are both focused on helping people, growing communities, and doing the right thing by people, then you have a good business partner. If you're both focused on just making as much profit as possible, it's not my model, but it's reasonable, then you have a good business partner. If one of you is one of those and one of you is the other, it's probably not going to work. So aligning your values and then complementing each other's skill sets are the key to finding a business partner. So for example, on Legiit, I have a business partner, and what he does is he runs the development side and the technical side, and he does some other things too that are beyond our initial agreement. But for the most part, that's what he's responsible for. And I'm responsible for the marketing, the growth, and the management of the team and things like that, because those are the things I'm good at, where he's good at running that. So those skills complement each other, because I don't know how to code for shit. If sometimes people ask me if I did the coding for Legiit, and I say, if it did, it would still say Hello World, which is the first program they teach you in computer programming class. So we complement each other in that way, but we have the same core values. So those are the kinds of things that you need to find in a good business partner. So talking about opportunities and partners makes me think about how Legiit itself was born from those opportunities. Finding my partner was an opportunity that I had because I had started that freelancing business and I had built a relationship with him as a customer, which has led to the different things that we've built into Legiit, which has like Legiit Leads, which is a software that helps you find clients that need specific services, email them, and then sell them services that you can outsource through Legiit. It's how we saw the opportunity to build something in Legiit that nobody else had. And that's when we started incorporating AI and software into the platform that helped people figure out what they needed. Because one of the opportunities that we saw when we talked to our customers was that they didn't know what to buy, or they didn't know how to use the services that they were finding. So they just weren't buying anything. So we built in some tools and some AI and some stuff that's still in development that helped them figure that out. But my point to all of this is Legiit was born from taking advantage of opportunities when I saw them. I saw that there was a hole in the marketplace because the other marketplace I was using was no longer functioning properly. I saw that the freelancers were hungry for a place to sell their services. I saw the SEO customers in my communities were hungry to buy services from somewhere. And I saw the opportunity to partner with someone that could do the things that I couldn't do. So then we launched Legiit. It immediately became my number one business, but it didn't stop there because we took relentless action. We saw that people didn't know how to get customers. So we created Legiit Leads, which I showed you a minute ago, that gave people the opportunity to find customers and to use them to grow services. And that has brings in revenue all of its own, but it also creates revenue through Legiit. We realized that customers didn't know how to use the services that they found on Legiit. They didn't understand SEO well enough. They didn't understand marketing, content, sales, whatever, well enough to decide on their own. So we built in software that helped them track everything and see what worked, and then found the right opportunities for them. We're currently building AI into the platform that they'll literally be able to type in what their problem is, and it'll recommend people to solve it for them, because we saw the opportunity that AI provided us. So we built that into Legiit as well. And you see how we're continually looking for taking action, relentless action, and finding opportunities and building that into the platform and growing and growing and growing it. That's the lesson that I really want you to take from this section, is to look for opportunities and take action on them. Opportunities only work if you find them and then you do them. So take advantage of opportunities, and that means constantly taking action, constantly working hard, constantly moving towards that goal, and constantly finding new ways to grow and scale and add on to your business so that you can have the kind of success that you want. So you can take that goal that you've been looking for, that you've been aiming for, and start taking steps to get there. Now, a lot of this advice might seem obvious, but the fact is a lot of people just don't do it. The real secret, if I had to give you one thing, is be consistent over letting things be complex. Do one thing over and over again and keep getting better at it. I kept doing SEO and kept getting better at it. I kept finding ways to get SEO business and kept getting better at it. I saw an opportunity, I took it, and then I started getting consistent on that opportunity and kept growing it and getting better with it. And that's why over the course of the last 10 years, I've been able to have so much success and build these different businesses and these different products to the level that they're going to be. So I want you to have the same success in the next 10 years that I have, because now I've shown you that it's possible. So if you want to get started, go to Legiit, sign up, put in your website, and we'll get started helping you with your business today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.